Hello. Rolling. Welcome back to another Kinstretch at home with the Fitness Alchemists, or wherever you are. Today we're going to focus in on the neck and shoulders, specifically that connective tissue, the muscles that link those two areas together, and a little bit of how to separate control of your scapula and your shoulder from your neck getting involved, because we've heard that's a big thing for a lot of folks. You will need a tennis ball. If you don't have that, take a pair of your socks and ball them up tightly. It's just going to be an object that helps bring our body's awareness and focus to a particular flow of muscle tissue so that we can work on how to contract and relax it. And then towards the end of the class, you will need something to rest your forehead on while lying flat on your face. So a towel works really nicely, as you can fold it or roll it to different heights that feel good so that your neck can relax and you're not smushed with your nose into the floor. So we'll begin with neither of those props, just warming up the general area so you can come to a comfortable seated position or kneeling position. We're going to begin with some neck cars, and we'll want to make sure that the shoulders don't get involved. So you're going to take your fists and place them behind your back. If you can, you want to get your knuckles to touch, and you're going to bring your hands a little lower if this feels sketchy in your shoulders, or a little higher if you feel like you've got slack and range to do so. But the main thing here is that we want to feel like those shoulder blades are pulling down on the back, and then that you're able to press your hands together a little bit as you go. And then from here, we'll turn back around. We're going to begin our neck car. So very slowly, tucking chin to throat, nodding nose to chest, and then starting to trace your collarbone to one side. Whichever side you picked is fantastic. Tip your ear back over that shoulder, and then trace a rainbow across the ceiling with your chin. Try to look all the way past your other shoulder before you trace your collarbone back through center and continue on in that same direction. As you go, keep breathing and just take note of what stretching sensations you feel as you move around. Check back in with your shoulder blades. Can they glide down? Can you still maintain pressure of knuckle to knuckle? And the next time your chin gets to the center of your chest, just pause there. See if you've got any more tuck of the chin, opening sensation in the back of the neck that you can find, and then reverse direction with your neck car. Very nice. And the neck car is one where we really want to pay attention to that 1 mile per hour cue, that cadence. We will tend to zip right through or even kind of skip places that are tense or tight that don't want to move. One cue you can use here to help yourself is to imagine you've got a laser pointer shooting out of your chin. You're trying to draw the biggest circle around the room that you can. Cat lovers, that one's particularly good for you. Last 10 seconds here. Keep circling, keep breathing, seeking those stretching sensations. 3, 2, 1. Excellent. All right, from here we're going to warm up our scapular cars. So whatever that comfortable seated position is in, you can stay. You're going to bring your arms out to about chest height. We're going to be working with some external rotation today, so we're going to bias that in our scapular cars as well. So go ahead and rotate your elbow pits up towards the ceiling, your biceps out and away from you. Squeeze your fists. Take a deep breath in, pack that air down, feel like you've knitted your ribs down to your belly button, and then draw your shoulder blades in towards your spine, up towards your ears, wide across your back, down towards your back pockets. Keep going. In, up, wide, down. As you go, keep thinking, rotate biceps away from center. Good. Pause here and reverse. Come up, squeeze in, slide down, and wide. Up, maybe a little higher than before, in, stay squeezed to your spine and slide down the spine. Stay down and reach wide. Reach those knuckles away from you. One more time. Up, in, down, and wide. Fabulous. And then come to a quadruped position. And here we want to find a little bit of stretch through the armpit stuff. So Will's going to actually walk his knees back a little further from a normal quadruped. He's going to tuck his ribs in. If the back starts to arch too much, then we won't find that sensation. And then he's going to put his hands heavy into the floor and sit his hips back towards his heels, looking to open up a stretch through this front of armpit, underarm area. Now, he's going to stay here and take a few breaths. If this feels good for you, stay and take a few breaths. If you are not groovy with this knee or hip position, you can place your hands, you can do this standing, place your hands on a countertop or edge of a couch, sit your butt back, bend your knees, find that same opening stretch. And then from here, whichever option you're in, we're going to start to move just the low back through a mini cat camel. So you're going to tuck your tail under, try to round your low back, and then try to lift your tail feathers, finding a little arch in your low back. And as you explore the ability of your lumbar spine to articulate, see if you can still feel that stretch through armpit stuff and underarm stuff. Breathing as you go. And just check in here too that your shoulders don't need to be swallowing your neck, that your neck tissues can be fairly relaxed, even though your hands are heavy into the floor and you're feeling an active stretch and a little bit of PAILs through that flow of tissue for 5, 4, nice job, 3, 2, and 1. Let that go. Great. Okay. So we're going to introduce a technique called iso ramping. This is where your tennis ball will come in handy. And we're going to work on that flow of tissue that connects the shoulder to the neck, which can hold some unnecessary tension for many of us. The tennis ball, let me have you come over here, Will, and face away from them. You're going to be laying on your back before you get down on the floor, and you can't see us. You're going to place this tennis ball somewhere in this territory between spine and shoulder blade that feels a little gnarly for you. So it might feel a little tender, might feel a little tense at first, and then we're going to work with our breath and our ability to contract and relax this tissue. And the tennis ball is really just there to point our attention to the exact part that we're trying to use and provide a little bit of awareness gathering to that spot. So you're going to lie down on your back. You're going to place the tennis ball or your balled up socks underneath one side. And you can hunt around here. This is a little bit of a choose your own adventure moment. You can get a little closer to the neck and spine or a little closer to the shoulder blades. You can also play with your arm position. So sometimes out to the side you'll feel more, or for me, if I cross my arm over my chest, I feel a little bit more. So these are all variables you can play with, but basically you want to find a spot where you feel like that tennis ball is pushing up into a muscle that is tense. And then our first job here is to just try to relax that tissue and allow the tennis ball to come deeper up into the muscle. And to do that, we're going to work with our breathing. So you're going to think slow breath in through the nose, slower breath out through the mouth. In slow and out slow. And if you can, you're going to bring your mental attention to the sensations in the muscles that are being contacted by that tennis ball. You're going to invite them to melt. Send a melty thought their way. And they may soften and they may not. It just depends on the individual, how long those tissues have been tense and how committed they are to that state. But we want to give them the opportunity in this first phase. Good. Couple more slow breaths here. Great. Now our next job is to remind that muscle that's touching the tennis ball, that's trying to currently absorb it, that it can fully contract and fully relax. And that tension that you feel is a state of midway contraction. We want to clear that by reminding it how to fully contract and then fully relax. So we'll try that together now. You want to stay relatively still. This is more like an isometric, like a PAILs and RALs. You're going to think into that tennis ball area, and you're going to start to very gently swell that muscle tissue or tense that muscle tissue like you're trying to start spitting the tennis ball out. We spent some time absorbing it in, now you're trying to push it back out. Start very low. I'm going to give you a 5 count, and I want you to ramp up to what feels like a medium strong effort, so 50% for you. Starting here, go ahead for 1, ramp 2, ramp 3, ramp 4, ramp 5. Hold that 5 out of 10 contraction. Take a deep breath in. Hold the breath, hold the contraction. And now as you start to slowly exhale, also start to ramp down. Slowly relaxing that muscle tissue, absorbing the tennis ball even more deeply in as you come all the way back to perhaps a more melty state than where you started. We're going to do that again. So again, I'll give you that 5 count. I want you to slowly start ramping up a contraction that could spit the ball out, coming up to just a 50% intensity effort. 1, ramp 2, ramp 3, ramp 4, ramp 5. So you're at 50% of trying to spit the ball out. If you feel, check in with yourself, that you can safely give a little bit more effort, go for it. Hold that effort, maintaining. Take a deep breath in. Maintain that effort. Hold the breath. And then as you exhale, begin to slowly ramp down. Slow exhale, allowing the ball to come deeper into the tissue. Beautiful. Take a deep breath, and let's switch that tennis ball over to the other side. You can take a moment to just feel how your different sides feel. Setting your tennis ball up on the other side, you again are going to hunt around to find what feels like a tender or tense bit of tissue. You can play around with your arm position in relationship to that spot, crossing over your body, out to the side. Feel what helps you feel like you're pinning the tissue to the tennis ball, and you're clear on what's tense and where the tennis ball is pointing. And then start your slow breathing. Slow breath in, slower breath out. Continue with that breath pattern. Your other thought to invite here is that you're inviting the muscle tissue to melt, to absorb the ball deeper into the muscle, to let the muscle relax around the ball. These are all just different ways to think about the same thing. Slow breath in, slower breath out. Couple more breaths here. Slow breath in, slower breath out. Invite that tissue to melt. more good slow breath in. And then slower breath out. Good. Starting at 0, ramping your way up gradually. I'm going to give you a 5 count again. You're going to ramp up to a 50% effort of now trying to contract that muscle and spit it out. Here we go. Starting at 0, ramp up a little, ramp up 2, ramp 3, ramp 4, ramp 5. Hold that 50% contraction, trying to spit the ball out or swell the muscle against the ball. Nothing really moves, just trying to get that muscle to remember how to contract a little more than it does. Keep holding, and now take a deep breath in. Hold the contraction, hold the inhale. And then as you start to slowly exhale, also slowly melt that muscle all the way back down, as close to 0 contraction as you can get. And the slower that breath can be, the slower that ramp can be, the better. You can think of aiming for like a slow 10 count, but if that feels overwhelming, just go for a nice slow exhale. We'll do that whole sequence again on this side, starting to gently contract the muscle to spit the ball out. Ramp 1, ramp 2, ramp 3, ramp 4, ramp 5. You're at 50% possible contraction of that muscle. Check in with yourself. See if it feels safe to contract even a little bit more. Now hold that contraction. Take a breath in and suspend the inhale. Maintain the contraction. Then as you start to slowly exhale, also slowly melt the contraction away. Beautiful. All right, take that away. This is a nice one to do before bed also. If you want to just use this clip of the video, you certainly can. Okay, so now we've brought some more awareness to this flow of tissue. We've reminded it a little bit how to contract and relax. We're going to go even further with that with some PAILs stimulus. So take a moment here in a comfortable seated position to lean your ear away from one shoulder and feel a stretch anywhere in that flow of tissue. And then think about your shoulder blade. Can you glide your shoulder blade down, just like we did in our scapular car, which might also feel like in this position, reaching your knuckles towards the floor, and feel that that intensifies your stretch a little bit. This is an option if the next thing we show feels like, whoa, absolutely no way. You're gonna just set up in a comfortable seated position. When I cue PAILs, you're gonna reach your shoulder blade actively down towards the floor. When I cue to relax, you're just gonna let that relax, but you'll keep your head leaned to the side. The stretch we're gonna do, if you're willing, is called a thread the needle. So we wanna find that same stretched position. Will's gonna come into a quadruped. He's gonna rest his shoulder down. So getting body weight headed into the shoulder, and then just rest the head on the floor. So most of his weight here is in the shoulder, and then the other hand can bend and place on. So go ahead and find your way into that position, or if that feels like absolutely no way in heck, just bend one ear towards one shoulder and locate a stretch from that comfortable seated position. Feeling your stretch, once again, we want to do some slow breathing. Slow breath in, slower breath out. Invite that tension line to melt. If you're in the thread the needle, hunt around for any micro adjustments you can make to feel really safe in this position. If it doesn't feel safe for you, you might need to move to the other option that we gave, Or you might need to shift to put more weight into your shoulder and make sure that you don't feel like your body weight is resting on your ear or your head. From here, we're going to start our PAILs contraction. We're going to go very, very light with this PAILs effort, whichever option you're in. So my thread the needle folks, you're going to think about that shoulder that's touching the floor, trying to shrug towards the ear on the same side of the body, the ear that's resting on the floor, but the ground prevents you from moving anywhere. And just give me a 10% effort there. As you're in that 10% effort, breathe. My folks who are not thread the needling, you're reaching your shoulder blade towards the floor, feeling that increased sensation of stretch, and you're holding. Everybody hold and take 2 more deep breaths in and out. 1 more time in and out. And then slowly let that effort go. Come back to relaxed, staying in position. So thread the needle, folks, you're not moving, you're just relaxing your shoulders, attempt to shrug. Seated folks, you're keeping your ear towards your shoulder, but you're letting go of your reach towards the floor. We'll do that 1 more time for this side. Very gently, try to shrug, thread the needle folks, shoulder towards ear. Seated folks, try to reach shoulder blade towards the floor. 10% effort. Hold and breathe. Deep breath in. Deep breath out. Good. Deep breath in. Deep breath out. And then slowly let that effort melt away. And then slowly bring yourself out of that position. Juicy?
So nice.
More human feeling, perhaps? Okay.
Yeah.
So other side. Well, let me have you angle a little more this way. Perfect. So again, thread the needle, folks. You're going to find your stretch first by bending your ear away from your shoulder. And then that shoulder places itself on the ground first. So you load most of your body weight into the shoulder. And then you can just gently set your head down. You do have a little bit of rotation here, your t-shirt logo turning towards your arm that's reaching through. And then this other hand can really hunt around for a way to contact the floor that just helps your whole shape feel safe. And again, if this is not groovy for you, if it feels like too much strain on the neck or too precarious, if the knees don't like it, you're going to find a comfortable seated position where you can be upright. You're going to lean your new ear towards your shoulder, locating a stretch through that same line. And then when we PAILs, your action will be to reach the shoulder blade down, which is a little different than what I'm cueing for the thread the needle folks. Everybody take 1 more deep, slow breath in. Deep, slow exhale. Make any last micro adjustments to feel comfortable and to feel a clear stretch. And then very gently, aiming for just a 10% effort, thread the needle, folks. You're going to try to bring your shoulder that's on the ground as though in a shrug action towards the ear that's on the ground. And just hold that 10% effort. Seated friends, you're going to reach your shoulder blade down towards the floor, keeping your ear on the opposite side in the same closeness to your shoulder that you had. Everybody take a deep breath in. Everybody take a deep breath out. And then slowly let that effort resolve, but keep yourself in position. We'll do that 1 more time, seeking just a 10% effort. Thread the needle, folks. Try to shrug the shoulder up if the ground is in the way. Seated folks, reach the shoulder blade down. Everybody take a slow breath and maintain that 10% effort. Good. 1 more breath in. As you breathe out, slowly let that effort resolve. And bring yourself out of position. Beautiful. Okay, so now Stay upright and watch one rep of the next exercise, because we're going to be lying on our faces and you won't be able to see anything. So Will is going to use his towel at whatever fold height feels like a good support for the forehead. Yeah, bring your feet over here. Great, perfect, perfect. Nice. So the right hand is going to be our working hand. You're going to place that hand behind your head. Again, don't do yet, just watch. The other hand you get to use as a self-tactile cue. So if I was in your living room, I'd be coaching you right from here. I'd be placing my hand right on this flow of tissue that we've just been stretching. What we're going to be looking for and monitoring for with that self-tactile cue is that this tissue contracts at a certain point and relaxes in between reps. It doesn't stay on tension. It also doesn't get so overwhelmed with tension that your shoulder comes up and swallows your neck. So we want to feel that we can contract this stuff when appropriate without it overwhelming the action. So our two actions will be this. One, we're going to try to just lift that elbow off the floor. As you lift the elbow, whatever height you get, we shouldn't feel a ton of engagement through that upper trap stuff that you're monitoring. We want to find some action that's pulling that shoulder blade in towards the spine, right in the mid-back here. So seek that out as we go. And then our second action will be to lift the elbow, try to maintain that elbow height, and then get the hand light off the head or all the way off the head. That's where this trap stuff is going to contract. As we place the hand down though, and the elbow down, we want to make sure that it's relaxing in between reps. All right, so come on down, place your right hand at the back of your head, right elbow lightly touching the floor, and then find some way that's comfortable for you to contact your right upper trapezius, that muscle that connects the shoulder to the neck, either on top or from below. See what feels most comfortable for you. All right, commit to your chest being heavy to the floor. Brace your body. Check that you can still be fairly relaxed in the trap. And then see if you can lift that elbow any amount. Hold. 3, 2, 1. Lower it back down. So we'll start with just those elbow lifts. Again, lift that elbow. Try to feel a muscle that pulls your shoulder blade down and in towards your spine, and then return it back down. Lift that elbow and return it back down. Now, last time, lift that elbow, hold it, try to maintain that height, and then make the hand light, or maybe it lifts off, depending on your range. Feel that trap engage, set the hand down, set the elbow down, make sure the trap relaxes. Rinse, repeat, elbow first. Keep it there, hand light or lift, hand down, elbow down. Make sure you get that relaxed. 2 more, elbow lift. Good, hand light or lift, hand down, elbow down. Last one, best one, elbow lift, hand light or lift, hand down, elbow down. And then we get to switch sides. Placing left hand behind the head, right hand reaches across to monitor that left trap. Keep your chest heavy. Brace your body to send help. Lift just the elbow. Try to feel minimal engagement of the trap. Find some of those mid-back muscles that pull your shoulder blade towards your spine, and then return back down. Again, lift the elbow and return back down. Good, easy neck, lift the elbow, let your forehead rest. Return back down, lift the elbow, hold that lift, and now try to make your hand light on the back of your head, or maybe it lifts up. Return the hand, return the elbow, make sure that trap comes back to melty. Rinse, repeat, elbow first. Hand gets light or lifts. This depends on how much range you have. Hand comes back down, elbow comes back down. Elbow lifts, hand lifts. Good, hand returns, elbow returns. Last one, best one, elbow lifts, hand lifts, hand returns, elbow returns, and back to melty. Nice. If you have time, I want you to rewind the video and do one more set of those lift-ups on each side. The last thing I want everyone to do all together is to just retest towel forehead, retest our neck cars. So from that same position that we did in the warm-up, knuckles pressed together in the small of your back, shoulder blades pulled down, ribs knitted in down towards your belly button, tuck chin towards throat, nod nose towards chest, and just take 2 reps in the first direction that you picked, checking in to see if you have different sensations and or if you feel like you're able to access more range. When you finish your second rep back to the chest, go ahead and reverse direction. Make sure you're breathing throughout. Nice job, going slow, exploring your sensations and your options. When your chin gets back to your chest from that second rep, let it go. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you next time.